Thank you for coming. I want to talk to you about a real need in the world today. Children who are abandoned, left in poor conditions, and even worse care. Children who, because of an abnormality, are said to be too much of a burden to take care of. I say something must be done, that we cannot sit idly by and do nothing. We can all contribute something. Even something small can grow to be great. There's not a lot of research on this specific topic that I was able to find. Perhaps people don't like their conscience being pricked. Some may just misunderstand people with disabilities or think they are contagious and see it fit to just put them away. But there are many stories of children with Down syndrome, autism, and other developmental disabilities who are left in institutions, even though many of them have a living parent. These are organizations that have dedicated themselves to helping the abandoned children of this world, but also ask the help of others. So why is this not more well known? There's not a lot of coverage on this subject. I would imagine it makes people uncomfortable to see someone that needs help and doing nothing. Perhaps not wanting to do anything, and that would wreak havoc on the conscience. How could anyone live that way? I would guess shutting their eyes, denying it is there, or steeping themselves in indifference would be the only way to live. Otherwise, the guilt would crush you. I have an example of this indifference, of this shutting of the eyes. Newsweek released an article in 2016 that was about a public meeting in Siberia that was aired by Russian state-controlled TV. This public meeting was a fight over whether or not to allow a wheelchair ramp installed into a residential building. A woman was quoted in this article by Mark Bennett saying in the meeting, and I quote, "I don't want to look at children in wheelchairs. I can't do anything to help them, and I can't look at them and cry every night over this, you understand. I don't want to do this, and I have a right not to." Others may just misunderstand people with disabilities. Without being properly educated on the subject, some people seem to think someone with a disability are sickly and contagious. In the same meeting mentioned earlier, people are quoted asking, "Where will these children play? Here at this playground?" Another is quoted saying that sick and healthy children should not mix, while another person expressed concern that the disabled children could be infectious. We could almost laugh at such ignorance, but that does not change the fact that people think this way, and children all over the world suffer the consequences. So this happened in Siberia. Surely nowhere else, you might say. There are many stories of this tragedy. Amy Patterson, who conducts research on Down syndrome, spoke with a family in the Ukraine who told their story and their experience in the hospital when they had a child with Down syndrome. In 2008, Nadia Gorda gave birth to a son in Kiev, Ukraine. The doctor informed her that her son had Down syndrome and a heart defect, and strongly advised her to give the child to Ukraine's institutional system. She refused, so the doctors went to her husband and mother, and the doctors told them that they can take the child as an organ donor to other countries, and they can give them some money for the exchange. So what happens in these institutions? These institutions are typically understaffed, poorly kept, and mistreat the people they claim to care for. Naomi Larson wrote an article for The Guardian in 2016 about a visit made to an institution in Mexico City. She wrote what they saw, and I quote, "A dozen children with cerebral palsy lie on a thin mattress on the floor of a spacious room. A smell of cleaning products unsuccessfully masks the scent of urine. Nearby, 5 children are tied to a rough metal frame. They are bandaged from the waist to ankles, their hands bandaged too, looking half mummified and attempt to teach them how to stand. A picture is displayed showing a boy with autism tied to a wheelchair, and the wheelchair tied to a bed, immobilized. Well, what can we do to help? There are many organizations that have dedicated themselves to these children. Reese's Rainbow is an organization that raises money to fund adoptions. They raise money and put it toward as many children's adoptions as they can. People looking to adopt a child but cannot afford the upfront cost can go there and adopt a child that has been completely funded for and bring them into their loving care. One can go to their website and donate to a child in need, and it even shows how much more money is needed to fund the adoption. We can all do something small that would add up to something great. Well, in conclusion, I just want to say, do not be like the ones who turn a blind eye or remain ignorant. Look into this. Educate yourselves. If you do not know of the need, seek it out. Don't settle for someone saying we have a facility that takes care of these matters and leave it at that. Find something to be a part of. There's a real need out in the world, and there's something everyone can contribute. There are children hoping beyond all hope that there are people willing to do what is right. Will you?